In the heart of Salisbury Plain, England, a colossal monument has stood sentinel against the passage of time for over 5,000 years. Stonehenge, it's a name that echoes through history, synonymous with mystery, ancient wisdom, and the enduring power of human ingenuity. Long before the pyramids of Giza pierced the Egyptian sky, long before Rome became an empire, a Neolithic people embarked on a project of unimaginable scale and ambition. Imagine, if you will, a landscape shrouded in mist, a world without the clang of modern machinery. Here, our ancestors moved and erected stones weighing up to 40 tons, some sourced from quarries nearly 200 miles away. How did they do it? And more importantly, why? This isn't just a collection of rocks, it's a carefully constructed masterpiece of engineering and astronomy, a silent testament to a forgotten civilization. For centuries, historians, archaeologists, and dreamers alike have gazed upon these stones, asking the same fundamental question: what was the purpose of Stonehenge? Was it a temple for sun worship, a celestial calendar marking the solstices with breathtaking precision? The very alignment of the stones suggests a deep connection to the cosmos. As the sun rises on the summer solstice, its first ray sliced directly through the heart of the monument, illuminating the central altar stone. It's a spectacle that connects us directly to the people who witnessed it millennia ago. Perhaps it was a place of healing, a prehistoric lords where people from across the land journeyed in search of cures, drawn by the perceived magical properties of the blue stones. The discovery of burials with signs of severe illness and injury lends weight to this theory, or could its purpose have been more solemn? A grand necropolis, a city of the dead where kings and priests were laid to rest, their spirits forever bound to this sacred ground. The sheer number of burial mounds surrounding Stonehenge, an entire landscape of the dead, points to its profound importance as a ceremonial center for death and burial. Each theory opens a new window into the minds of its creators, yet none can fully capture the monument's true essence. The lack of written records from this period means the stones themselves are our only primary sources, their silent language one of shape, position, and enduring presence. The story of Stonehenge is not just about the stones themselves, but about the people who built them. Who were they? They weren't a single, homogeneous group, but waves of different cultures, each leaving their mark on the landscape over a period of 1,500 years. The initial phase involved massive earthworks, a circular ditch and bank. Centuries later, the iconic bluestones were brought from the Preseli Hills in Wales, a Herculean feat of transport over land and water. Finally, the colossal sarsen stones were dragged from 20 miles away and shaped with incredible precision using only stone tools. This was a multi-generational project, a cathedral of its time, demanding the collective effort and shared belief of an entire society. What kind of society could command such loyalty and dedication to a single, monumental vision? To understand Stonehenge, we must journey back in time, piecing together clues from scattered bones, fragmented pottery, and the very soil under our feet. Modern archaeology, with its arsenal of ground-penetrating radar, DNA analysis, and strontium isotope testing, is peeling back the layers of time like never before. We can now tell where the people buried at Stonehenge grew up, what they ate, and how they lived. We are discovering that this was not an isolated monument, but the heart of a bustling, interconnected world. Vast settlements, processional avenues, and other wooden and stone circles have been discovered hidden beneath the fields, revealing a ritual landscape of staggering complexity. This wasn't a place you just visited, it was a destination. Pilgrims would have traveled for weeks, even months, to participate in the rituals and ceremonies held here. Imagine the sight that would have greeted them: massive stones reaching for the sky, fires blazing, the air thick with the sound of chanting and the smell of roasting feasts. It would have been an experience designed to awe, to inspire, and to connect the individual to the community, the earth to the heavens, and the living to the dead. The effort involved tells us that whatever happened here was of the utmost importance to the spiritual and social fabric of their world. Yet, despite all our scientific advancements, the core mystery remains. We have the how, or at least plausible theories for it. We have the when and the who, broadly speaking. But the why remains elusive, a tantalizing whisper on the wind. Why this specific spot? What specific beliefs compelled thousands of people to dedicate their lives to this singular project? Was it fear, hope, a desire to impose order on a chaotic world? Or was it an act of profound reverence for their ancestors and the gods they worshipped? Perhaps it was all of these things and more. The beauty of Stonehenge lies in its ambiguity. It acts as a mirror, reflecting our own questions about existence, our place in the universe, and our connection to the deep past. It forces us to confront the limits of our knowledge and to embrace the power of speculation and imagination. Every generation projects its own beliefs and anxieties onto these ancient stones. To the medieval mind, it was the work of the wizard Merlin. To the Romantics, it was a ruin of sublime and melancholic beauty. To us, it is a scientific puzzle, a World Heritage Site, and a tourist attraction. But strip all that away, and what are we left with? We are left with the stones. Immovable, impassive, and eternal, they have witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the coming of new technologies, and the changing of the very climate itself. They were here long before us, and they will be here long after we are gone. They are a reminder of a time when humanity's relationship with the natural world and the cosmos was more direct, more intimate. To stand within the circle as dawn breaks is to feel a connection not just to the people who built it, but to something far older and more profound. It's a humbling experience, a moment of temporal vertigo that collapses 5 millennia into a single heartbeat. As we continue to dig, to analyze, and to dream, we may one day unlock more of Stonehenge's secrets. New discoveries are being made all the time, each one adding another piece to this immense and complex puzzle. But perhaps the true power of Stonehenge is not in the answers it might one day give us, but in the questions it forces us to ask right now. It challenges us to look beyond our own fleeting moment in time and consider the vast, silent sweep of human history. For over 5,000 years, the stones have waited, guarding their secrets. And as the mist rolls in once more across Salisbury Plain, they continue to wait, a silent, powerful question written in stone against the sky. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you found this exploration of the past as fascinating as we do, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more deep dives into the world's greatest mysteries.
History isn't just what happened, it's what was hidden. Welcome to the Chrono Archives, where lost empires rise again, forgotten legends speak, and ancient truths are brought back to life. From world-shaping history and powerful myths to legendary rulers and timeless civilizations, every story here is carefully uncovered, deeply researched, and cinematically told. The past is calling, will you answer? Subscribe and journey through time, one unforgettable chronicle at a time.
Imagine a world without writing, without cities, without metal. This was Britain, thousands of years before the Romans, before the Celts, a land shrouded in the mists of prehistory. We call this the Neolithic period, the New Stone Age, but what was it really like to live then? Forget the brutish caveman stereotype. These were people of skill, of community, of deep spiritual belief. They were farmers, hunters, and builders on an epic scale. Their world was one of forests teeming with life, rivers winding through lush landscapes, and a sky filled with stars, so bright they felt close enough to touch. They lived in small, tight-knit communities, bound by kinship and a shared struggle for survival. Their homes, often made of timber, wattle, and daub, were clustered together, creating the first villages this land had ever seen. Life was dictated by the seasons. The thaw of spring meant planting crops like wheat and barley. Summer was a time of growth and tending to livestock, cattle, sheep, and pigs. Autumn brought the harvest, a crucial time of gathering and storing food for the harsh winter ahead. Survival was a collective effort. Everyone had a role, from the eldest storyteller to the youngest child learning to forage for berries. But these people did more than just survive. They had a rich inner world, a spiritual landscape that was as real to them as the physical one. They honored their ancestors, burying their dead in elaborate tombs we now call long barrows. These weren't just graves. They were communal houses for the departed, places of ritual and connection between the living and the spirit world. Inside these dark, earthy chambers, they would leave offerings, fine pottery, polished stone axes, a final gift for the journey beyond. These tombs tell us that death was not an end, but a transition, and that family bonds stretched beyond the veil of life. And then, something extraordinary began to happen on the Salisbury Plain, something that would echo through millennia. It started not with a grand design, but with a circle. A massive circular ditch and bank, known as a henge, was dug into the chalky earth using nothing more than antler picks and shoulder blade shovels. This was backbreaking, relentless work. Picture it, men and women, clad in animal skins, digging for weeks, months, maybe even years, moving thousands of tons of earth, one basketful at a time. This wasn't for a fortress or a settlement. This was for something sacred. A place set apart from the everyday world. At the center of this great circle, they dug a series of pits. And into these pits, they placed stones, not just any stones. These were blue stones, spotted dolerite, a type of volcanic rock with a unique, almost magical appearance. But here is the astonishing part. The nearest source for these blue stones is the Prehistoric Hills in Wales, over 150 miles away. How did a Stone Age people, without wheels, without iron tools, transport stones weighing up to 4 tons across such a vast and difficult terrain? The journey itself must have been a monumental undertaking, an epic pilgrimage. They would have felled massive trees, shaping them into sledges. They'd have woven ropes from plant fibers or leather. Then, with sheer muscle power, they would have dragged these colossal stones overland, through forests, and across rivers. Imagine the scene, hundreds of people, pulling together, chanting, their breaths misting in the cold air. They would have built rafts to ferry the stones across waterways like the Bristol Channel. This wasn't just an engineering project, it was an act of profound faith, a multi-generational effort that united different tribes in a common, sacred purpose. Why go to such incredible lengths? These blue stones must have held immense significance. Perhaps they were believed to have healing properties. Maybe they represented the ancestors, brought from a mythical homeland to a new ceremonial center. We don't have the words they used, the myths they told, but the action itself speaks volumes. They were bringing something powerful, something alive, to the heart of their sacred circle. This was the birth of Stonehenge, not the iconic structure we know today, but its first, crucial incarnation. A circle of Welsh stones, standing sentinel on the English plain. As the years turned into centuries, the site evolved. The next phase of construction was even more ambitious. The age of the bluestones gave way to the age of the Saracens. These are the giant sandstone boulders that give Stonehenge its famous silhouette. Sourced from the Marlborough Downs, about 20 miles to the north, these stones were monsters. The largest weigh over 40 tons, the equivalent of 30 cars. The challenge of moving them was immense, but the challenge of shaping them was even greater. Using only stone mauls, heavy, rounded hammer stones, they pounded and bashed the sarsen blocks, slowly, painstakingly, dressing them into rectangular shapes. This was skilled masonry on a scale never before seen. They weren't just erecting rough boulders, they were creating architecture. They shaped mortise and tenon joints, the same kind a woodworker uses to lock the horizontal lintels onto the upright stones. They even curved the lintels to follow the line of the circle, a subtle but brilliant architectural detail. This reveals a sophisticated understanding of geometry, planning, and long-term vision. The climax of all this effort was the raising of the stones. Imagine the moment, ropes are taut, wooden levers strain, and hundreds of people pull in unison. A massive upright sarsen, weighing tens of tons, is slowly, precariously, heaved into its deep foundation hole. The team leader shouts commands, The air is thick with tension and sweat. And then, with a final, mighty pull and a shudder that runs through the earth, the stone settles into place. It stands, for the first time. It points to the sky, a permanent finger of human will on the landscape. In that moment, a hush would have fallen over the crowd. The chanting stops, all eyes turn upwards. They have done more than raise a stone, they have created a link between the earth and the heavens. The camera of our minds tilts up from the silent, awestruck faces, past the top of the newly raised monolith, and into the vast, star-dusted cosmos. Here, on this wind-swept plain, a small group of people achieved something timeless. They began a mystery that would captivate us for thousands of years, a silent testament to their ingenuity, their community, and their unwavering spirit. The great question is no longer just how they did it, but why. What celestial event, what cosmic alignment were they striving to capture in stone? The story of Stonehenge was just beginning. Thank you so much for watching. If you're as fascinated by these ancient mysteries as I am, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell because we're going to be diving even deeper into the secrets of our ancestors. See you in the next one. We stand in a time before history was written, a time of myth and muscle. Here, one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world begins not with architects or astronomers, but with pure, raw, human power. The challenge to move the impossible. Imagine this, you're standing in the Preseli Hills of Wales. Before you are colossal blue stones, each weighing several tons. Your task is to transport them, not just a few feet, but over 150 miles across the rugged, untamed landscape of Neolithic Britain. There are no engines, no cranes, no modern machinery. There is only you, your community, and the sheer force of will. This wasn't a journey of a single day or week. It was a multi-generational epic, a saga of sweat and determination etched into the very land itself. So how did they do it? This question has baffled archaeologists and engineers for centuries. Let's delve into the leading theories. The most common idea involves brute force and simple machines. Picture teams of people, hundreds strong, their muscles straining against thick, woven ropes made from plant fibers or leather. The air is filled with rhythmic chanting, a human pulse driving the effort forward, a sound of unified purpose against the groaning of the earth. Beneath the massive stones, a system of wooden rollers, likely made from felled trees, would have been constantly laid down and picked up. Think of it like a primitive conveyor belt. As the stone inches forward, the roller it just passed over is quickly carried to the front. It's a slow, painstaking process. Every single foot gained is a monumental victory. They would have used wooden sledges, massive platforms to cradle the stones, reducing friction as they were dragged over the uneven ground. Grease, likely animal fat, would have been slathered on the tracks to make the immense weight slide just a little bit easier. It's a testament to their ingenuity, finding clever solutions with the limited resources they had. But the journey wasn't just overland. The path from Wales to Salisbury Plain is crisscrossed by rivers and waterways. This is where another theory comes into play, the power of water. Our ancestors were skilled navigators. It's plausible they constructed huge, sturdy rafts, lashing together enormous logs to create a floating platform, capable of bearing the immense weight of a bluestone. They would have guided these precarious vessels down rivers and possibly even across the Bristol Channel, a treacherous stretch of open sea. Imagine the terror and the triumph of that voyage, battling currents, tides, and unpredictable weather, with their precious, sacred cargo constantly at risk of being lost to the depths. A single mistake, a single moment of lost control, and the work of months, maybe even years, would be gone forever. Combining these methods seems the most likely scenario. A grueling overland haul, followed by a perilous water journey, and then another arduous trek across the final stretch of land. Each stage presented its own unique set of challenges. Hills had to be conquered, forests had to be cleared, and marshes had to be navigated. The physical toll would have been immense. We can envision the scene. faces etched with exhaustion, hands raw and bleeding from the ropes, bodies aching with every step. The British weather, then as now, would have been a relentless adversary. Driving rain turning the ground to a muddy quagmire, freezing winds whipping across the open plains, and the ever-present threat of injury, or worse. What's truly mind-boggling is that even with our modern technology, recreating this feat would be a monumental undertaking. Engineers have run simulations, and teams have attempted to replicate the process with authentic materials. Every single attempt highlights the sheer difficulty and the incredible level of organization required. It's not just about the physical strength, it's about the social cohesion. To undertake such a project, you need a society with a powerful, shared belief system. You need leaders who can command and inspire, and a community willing to dedicate their lives to a single, sacred goal. This wasn't a job, it was a calling. A pilgrimage of stone and soul. Think about the logistics. These teams would have needed to be fed and sheltered for months, possibly years. They would have needed a constant supply of materials, new rollers as old ones splintered, fresh rope as it frayed and snapped under the strain. This implies a highly organized support network, a whole segment of society dedicated to sustaining the stone movers. It speaks to a level of social complexity far beyond what we often imagine for prehistoric people. They weren't just primitive hunter-gatherers. They were project managers, engineers, and visionaries. Every mile of this journey was a testament to their faith. Why would they go to such extraordinary lengths? These weren't just any stones. The blue stones from the Preseli Hills were special, believed to possess healing or magical properties. Transporting them over such a vast distance wasn't merely construction. It was a sacred act, imbuing the land they crossed with power and significance. The journey itself was part of the ritual. Each pull of the rope, each heave, was a prayer, each drop of sweat, an offering. They were literally weaving their spiritual landscape into the physical one, connecting their ancestral homeland in Wales with a new, monumental center on Salisbury Plain. And so, after a journey that may have spanned a generation, the final moment arrives. The last hill is crested, and the destination is in sight, the wide, open expanse of Salisbury Plain. The teams give one final, desperate push. The air is thick with anticipation. The great blue stone grinds to a halt on the sacred ground. Ropes fall slack. And for a moment, there is silence, broken only by the sound of gasps for air. Then, a wave of raw emotion washes over the crowd. People collapse, utterly spent, their bodies giving out after a final, superhuman effort. Relief, triumph, and awe mingle on their exhausted faces. The stone has arrived. The impossible has been achieved. But this is not the end. It is only the beginning. For now, another, even more profound question arises. Why? What was the purpose of this great stone, and what meaning would it hold for the generations to come? The physical journey is over, but the spiritual one is just about to begin. Thank you so much for watching. If you're as fascinated by these ancient mysteries as I am, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the past. We have so much more to explore together. See you in the next one. For millennia, we've gazed up at the sky, seeking answers in the silent dance of the sun, moon, and stars. But what if our ancestors did more than just watch? What if they built a machine, a colossal clockwork of stone, designed to capture the cosmos itself? Welcome back to our journey into the heart of Stonehenge. Today, we peel back the layers of time to reveal a temple not just of stone, but of light and celestial rhythm. Imagine standing here 4,500 years ago. The air is crisp, filled with a quiet anticipation. As the longest day of the year dawns, the summer solstice, a singular, breathtaking event unfolds. The first rays of sunlight pierce the horizon, traveling like a golden spear, perfectly framed by the colossal stones. The light funnels through the outer circle, past the iconic trilithons, and strikes the very heart of the monument, bathing the altar stone in a divine glow. This isn't a coincidence. This is celestial architecture on a grand scale. The people who built Stonehenge were not primitive. They were astronomers, mathematicians, and engineers. They understood the sun's journey across the sky with a precision that is simply staggering. This entire monument is a solar calendar. The placement of each stone is a deliberate calculation, marking the sun's northernmost rising point at the summer solstice and its southernmost setting point at the winter solstice. It's a way to anchor time, to know with certainty the turning of the seasons. For an agricultural society, this knowledge was power. It was the difference between feast and famine, life and death. Knowing when to plant and when to harvest was dictated by this stone circle. But the sun was only half of the story. Stonehenge's genius extends to the moon as well. The 56 mysterious pits that encircle the monument, known as the Aubrey Holes, have long puzzled archaeologists. One compelling theory is that they formed a lunar calculator. By moving markers, perhaps stones or wooden posts, around this circle, ancient priests could track the moon's complex 18.6-year cycle and even predict eclipses. Imagine the power this gave them, to the uninitiated. Being able to foretell when the sun or moon would be devoured by darkness would seem like magic, a direct line to the gods. This wasn't just observation, it was prediction, control, and a profound understanding of the cosmic gears that turn our world. So, why go to such incredible lengths? Why spend generations hauling and shaping these massive stones? Because for the people of the Neolithic, the sky was alive. The sun and moon weren't just objects, they were deities, powerful forces that governed their existence. Stonehenge was where the heavens touched the earth. It was a place of ritual, a sacred stage for celebrating the endless cycle of light and dark, death and rebirth. Picture it, crowds gathering at midwinter, the darkest time of the year. They watch as the sun sets, perfectly aligned through a different set of stones, a promise that the light will return, that the days will grow longer again. It's a moment of profound hope, or at midsummer, a celebration of the sun's peak power, a festival of life and abundance. These weren't just astronomical observations. They were deeply spiritual experiences that bound the community together, connecting them to their world and the cosmos in a powerful, tangible way. The rhythmic beat of drums, the flickering firelight, the shared awe as the sun hit its mark, this was the lifeblood of their culture. Every stone, every alignment, speaks of a deep reverence for the cycles of nature. It was a place to mark the passing of seasons, to honor ancestors, and to ensure the continuation of life. The very layout of Stonehenge mirrors the cosmos, creating a sacred space that was a microcosm of the universe itself. The outer circle represents the world of the living, while the inner sanctum, bathed in solstice light, was the domain of the gods and the spirits of the ancestors. To enter Stonehenge was to walk a path between worlds. As we stand here now, watching the solstice sun flood the central stone, we are witnessing the culmination of this incredible vision. For a fleeting moment, the monument fulfills its ultimate purpose. The machinery of the heavens aligns with the machinery of stone, and the world is held in a perfect, brilliant balance. It's a moment of pure magic, a connection across the ages to the people who first dreamed this temple into existence. The light seems to freeze, holding the secrets of the sun and stars within its golden embrace. But as this brilliant light illuminates the heart of the stone circle, it also casts long, dark shadows. And it is within these shadows that a different, more unsettling story of Stonehenge begins to emerge. A story not of life, but of death. Stay with us as we step out of the light and into the darkness. The sun dips below the horizon, and Stonehenge is plunged into twilight. It's here in the long shadows of these ancient stones that we uncover a different side of the monument, not just a calendar or a temple, but a place of profound spiritual significance, a place of healing, and a gateway to the afterlife. For centuries, scholars debated the purpose of this great circle. Was it a celestial observatory, a ceremonial ground? While it was likely all these things, a growing body of evidence points to a more personal, more human story. The landscape around Stonehenge is dotted with burial mounds, final resting places for hundreds, perhaps thousands, of individuals from the Neolithic and Bronze Ages. These aren't just random graves, they represent a sacred cemetery, a city of the dead, centered on the monumental stones. Archaeologists excavating these burials have made astonishing discoveries. They've unearthed skeletons bearing signs of severe illness and traumatic injury. One man, buried near the monument, had a trap and skull hole deliberately drilled into his head, likely a desperate form of ancient surgery. Amazingly, the bone shows signs of healing, meaning he survived the procedure, at least for a while. Another skeleton reveals a man who suffered a brutal knee injury that would have left him crippled. Yet, his burial was elaborate, suggesting he was a respected member of his community. Why were these sick and injured people brought here, some from hundreds of miles away? The clues lie in the stones themselves. Analysis of the blue stones, the smaller pillars within the main circle, has shown they were chipped away at over centuries. Tiny fragments were taken, perhaps as talismans or healing charms. It's believed that these stones were thought to possess magical, curative powers. People made arduous pilgrimages to Stonehenge, not just to worship, but to seek a cure. They came to be healed by the magic of the stones, tended to by shamans or healers who blended practical medicine with spiritual ritual. Imagine the scene. Flickering torches illuminate the great trilithons. The air is thick with the smoke of burning herbs, mugwort, yarrow, plants known for their medicinal properties. Chants echo through the stones as a shaman tends to an injured person, invoking the spirits of the land to mend broken bones and soothe fevers. For these ancient people, medicine and magic were one and the same. The physical world was intertwined with the spirit world, and Stonehenge was the nexus where they met. Healing wasn't just about setting a bone. It was about restoring balance to the soul. But what happened when the healing rituals failed? What happened when the body gave out? For those who died at Stonehenge, their journey wasn't over. It was just beginning. The monument itself seems designed to align with the movements of the sun, particularly at the solstices. The winter solstice sunset, for instance, aligns perfectly with the main axis of the stones. For ancient cultures, the setting sun symbolized death, while the rising sun symbolized rebirth. Stonehenge was a place to mark this transition. It was a machine for shepherding souls from the land of the living to the land of the ancestors. The burials here were not sorrowful events, but celebrations of a life's journey. The dead were interred with precious goods, pottery, tools, and intricate gold ornaments, items they would need in the next world. Their bodies were often arranged in specific positions, perhaps facing the rising sun, ready for their spiritual rebirth. To be buried at Stonehenge was the highest honor. It meant your spirit would forever be linked to this powerful, sacred place, watched over by the eternal stones and the spirits that dwelled within them. This blend of hospital and cemetery, of healing and passing, makes Stonehenge unique. It was a place of last resort, a place of hope, and a place of final peace. The people who came here were facing life's ultimate challenges. They were seeking a miracle from the stones, or if that failed, a peaceful passage into the great beyond. Their stories are etched into the very landscape, whispers in the earth that tell of a time when belief was the most powerful medicine of all. As we stand here in the deepening twilight, surrounded by the silent tombs of ancestors, we can almost feel their presence. The haunting calls of night birds, the rustle of wind through the grass, the immense, dark shapes of the stones against a starry sky. This wasn't just a monument of rock, it was a monument of human experience. It was a testament to our enduring search for meaning, our struggle against mortality, and our unshakable belief that even in death, there is a new beginning. The people of Stonehenge understood that life and death are two sides of the same coin, and here, in this sacred circle, they honored both. The torchlight that once guided them through sickness and into the afterlife has long since faded, leaving behind a mystery that continues to fascinate and inspire us. As the last flame of the ancient world flickers and dies, plunging us into darkness, a new light emerges. The light of modern science, ready to pick up the trail and uncover the secrets these stones have held for so long. The investigation is far from over. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the spiritual heart of Stonehenge. If you've been captivated by this ancient mystery, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter of our investigation. For centuries, Stonehenge stood silent, its secrets locked away in stone. Myths and legends swirled around it, from Merlin's magic to Druidic rituals, but today, a new kind of magic is at work. Modern science has entered the circle, and it's rewriting the story of this ancient wonder. This isn't your grandfather's archaeology. Forget the trowel and brush for a moment. Today's investigators come armed with cutting-edge technology. They're using ground-penetrating radar to see what lies buried beneath the surface, revealing a hidden landscape of ditches, post holes, and even other monuments that we never knew existed. Drones soar high above, capturing every angle and creating incredibly detailed 3D models of the entire site. It's like having a digital twin of Stonehenge, allowing us to explore it in ways its builders could never have imagined. Imagine a team of scientists, not in a dusty field, but in a clean, high-tech laboratory. They're analyzing tiny soil samples, looking for microscopic clues that tell them about the environment thousands of years ago. What plants grew here? What was the climate like? Every grain of sand has a story to tell. They examine fragments of pottery and tools, tracing them back to their origins, sometimes hundreds of miles away. This reveals vast trade networks and connections that shatter the idea of prehistoric people living in isolation. And then there are the human remains. For a long time, we knew people were buried at Stonehenge, but we didn't know who they were or where they came from. Now, thanks to incredible advances in DNA and isotopic analysis, we can learn so much from a single tooth. We can determine their diet, where they grew up, and even what illnesses they might have suffered from. These aren't just skeletons anymore, they're individuals with lives and journeys. We've learned that some of the people buried here were not local. They traveled great distances to be laid to rest at this special place, suggesting Stonehenge was a site of major importance, a pilgrimage destination for people across ancient Britain and even from mainland Europe. These scientific discoveries are peeling back the layers of myth. For example, the idea that Stonehenge was solely a Druid temple is largely debunked. The main construction phases happened thousands of years before the Druids even appeared on the historical scene. Science has also helped us understand how the monument might have been used. The alignment with the solstices is no accident. The precise positioning of the stones creates a dramatic play of light and shadow during the longest and shortest days of the year. This suggests a deep understanding of astronomy and a culture that celebrated the changing seasons. It was part calendar, part celestial observatory, and part ceremonial ground. We've also gained incredible insight into how it was built. By analyzing the tool marks left on the stones and experimenting with replica tools, archaeologists have shown that with enough manpower, ingenuity, and social organization, constructing Stonehenge was not impossible. It didn't require aliens or magic, but the sheer, determined effort of a highly organized society. They figured out how to quarry massive stones, transport them over land and water, and hoist them into place using little more than wood, rope, and human muscle. It's a testament to human cooperation and engineering skill, but here's the fascinating part. For every question science answers, it seems to uncover two new ones. The more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know. We can explain the how, but the why remains tantalizingly out of reach. Why this specific spot? What did the ceremonies actually entail? What were the specific beliefs that compelled thousands of people over generations to dedicate their lives to building this monument? The chemical signatures in the stones tell us where they came from, but not why those specific quarries were chosen. The skeletons tell us about the people, but not what they thought or what they sang. The astronomical alignments are clear. but the full meaning of the rituals tied to them is lost to time. The data on our screens can show us a shadow of the past, a blueprint of the structure, but it can't fully capture the spirit of the place. And that's the enduring magic of Stonehenge. After all the scans, the analysis, and the data crunching, the scientists inevitably look up from their screens. They look up at the ancient, weathered stones standing against the sky. In that moment, the high-tech world of the 21st century fades, and they reconnected to the same sense of awe and wonder that people have felt here for 5,000 years. Science has given us incredible new tools to understand our past, but Stonehenge reminds us that some mysteries are so profound they may never be completely solved. And perhaps that's how it should be. The silence of the stones continues to echo, inviting us to keep asking, keep searching, and keep wondering. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the heart of Stonehenge. If you're fascinated by the intersection of ancient mysteries and modern science, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the world's greatest enigmas. We'll see you next time. As we draw our journey to a close, we find ourselves back where we began, beneath the vast, star-dusted canvas of the night sky, standing before the silent sentinels of Stonehenge. For all our exploration, for all the theories and all the scientific advancements, the deepest questions remain. The true purpose of this monumental endeavor, the full story of its creators, remains locked within these ancient stones, a secret they have kept for millennia. We've peered through the mists of time, piecing together fragments of a lost world, but the complete picture eludes us, tantalizingly out of reach. Why here? Why this specific design? What cosmic events or spiritual beliefs compelled a society, thousands of years ago, to haul these colossal stones across such vast distances? We can speculate about celestial calendars, healing sanctuaries, or sacred burial grounds. Each theory opens a new window into the past, yet none offers a definitive view. The more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know. The builders of Stonehenge left behind no written records, no user manual for their magnificent creation. They left only the stones themselves, a silent testament to their ingenuity, their determination, and their profound connection to the world around them. This enduring mystery is not a failure of our understanding, but an essential part of what makes Stonehenge so captivating. It's a place that humbles us, reminding us of the limits of our knowledge and the sheer scale of human history. It forces us to use our imagination, to connect with our ancestors not just through facts and figures, but through a shared sense of wonder and awe. Standing here, you can almost feel the echoes of ancient chants on the wind, the flicker of firelight against the sarcens, the weight of generations who have come to this very spot to gaze at the same sun, the same moon, the same eternal stars. Stonehenge is more than just an archaeological site, it is a bridge. A bridge that connects our modern world of technology and instant information to a distant, enigmatic past. It connects the earth beneath our feet to the cosmos above. It connects us, the curious onlookers of the 21st century, to the forgotten people who poured their lives and beliefs into raising these monoliths. They were astronomers, engineers, artists, and visionaries. Their legacy is not just carved in stone, but woven into the very landscape of this country and into the collective imagination of the world. The stones don't speak our language, but they communicate something profound. They speak of permanence in a world of constant change. They speak of a community united by a shared purpose, a grand vision that transcended individual lifetimes. They challenge us to think beyond our own brief existence and consider our place in the long, unfolding story of humanity. Every sunrise and sunset that aligns with these stones is a reenactment of a ritual that began thousands of years ago, a celestial clock that continues to tick with unerring precision. As we look at the Milky Way arcing over the silent circle, we are seeing the same view that inspired its builders. That connection, that shared experience across an ocean of time, is incredibly powerful. It's a feeling that transcends academic debate and scientific analysis. It's a deep, primal sense of connection to our own history, to the planet, and to the universe itself. The power of Stonehenge lies not just in the answers it might one day yield, but in the questions it forces us to ask right now. Perhaps the ultimate purpose of Stonehenge was never meant to be fully understood by successive generations. Perhaps its function was not to provide answers, but to inspire wonder, to be a place that would forever draw people in, making them look up at the sky and ponder the great cosmic cycles and their own small but significant part within them. It serves as a permanent reminder that there are forces and histories far greater than ourselves, mysteries that ground us and expand our perspective. The wind whispers through the tall grass, a sound that has remained unchanged for centuries. The moon casts long, shifting shadows that dance and play upon the stones, just as they did for the Druids of popular legend and the Neolithic farmers long before them. In a world that races forward, constantly seeking to solve, to define, and to conquer, Stonehenge stands as a quiet, powerful rebuttal. It tells us that it's okay not to know everything, that there is beauty and value in the unexplained. This is where our story of Stonehenge ends, not with a neat conclusion, but with a lingering sense of awe. It remains a symbol of human ambition, a masterpiece of ancient engineering, and a mystery that has captivated the hearts and minds of people for countless generations. It is a puzzle written in stone, and its most compelling chapter is the one that is yet to be written, the one that lives on in our collective curiosity. The legacy of Stonehenge is not just its physical presence, but the enduring spirit of inquiry it ignites within each of us. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through time. Some mysteries are meant to endure.
As we close this chapter of the Chrono Archives, remember, the past is never truly gone. It waits patiently in the shadows of forgotten ruins, in the echoes of ancient voices, and in the timeless lessons that still guide us today. It waits to be remembered by curious minds like yours. Thank you for joining us on this extraordinary journey through the annals of time. If today's exploration of lost civilizations, mythical legends, or historical enigmas ignited your passion for the past, hit that like button. Drop a comment with your favorite moment or what you'd love to see next, and most importantly, subscribe to the Chrono Archives and continue the journey through time. Turn on notifications so you never miss an episode where we unearth buried secrets, decode ancient mysteries, and bring history's greatest stories back to life. Together, we'll keep the flame of the past burning bright. Until next time, fellow time travelers, keep questioning, keep discovering, and keep remembering. The Chrono Archives, where the past lives forever.